Hey guys, welcome back to Pierre Haché Music. Cheers. So this is the first video I'm filming with my new setup here. Let me know if you guys like it. I rearranged my office space. I used to have the couch along this wall and my computer was right there. And for those of you that have been following me for a little while, I've filmed, over 100 videos with me sitting on that couch. But it was time for a little upgrade. So now I got myself a nice comfy wheelie chair, a nice desk, and I'll be filming some drum videos. Now you can see my drums in the back. You see my guitars my guitar and ukulele on the wall here, and I'm digging it so far. But enough about that. Let's dive into the content here. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to play a B minor. I'm going to show you that it can also be a movable shape that leads to many other useful minor chords, other minor shapes. So you get way more bang for your buck once you can finally get this bar chord to sound good. I'll give you some exercises and some tips, some kind of technique, little variants that'll help make it sound nice and be easier to get a nice sound. And lastly, I'll give you the kind of easier ways of playing a B minor chord, because there are a couple little hacks that can work in the interim as you're building up your ability to play these tricky bar chords. So stay tuned for all that. Thanks for being here, guys, and enjoy the rest of the video. So the B minor chord. Let me grab my trusty uke back here. Oh, this wheelie chair business is a lot of fun. The B minor chord is, in essence, I hope I'm in tune here. Yeah, pretty good. Think of the A minor shape, and imagine if you were barring at the nut and you just shift that bar over 2 frets, and you can bar either the bottom 3 or all 4 strings, and then we're pressing the top string, the 4th string, in the 4th fret. And that's our B minor chord. I tend to do it just barring the bottom 3. Doesn't change anything if you get up there and do all 4. So I'm going to show a diagram as always, and you can practice this. Now, so A minor, but shifted 2 frets. That's what's going on here, okay? I hope that makes sense. But what I want you to be aware of is when I play A minor, the top string is, the high note, right? It's the highest note. It's the bottom string physically on the ukulele, but it's the top note in pitch. I've had someone reprimand me for that before when I was referred to the bottom 3 strings. They're top in pitch, bottom in location. Give me a break. Okay, that A note is the root of our chord. That's an A. And the 2nd fret here is a B. So when I bar at the 2nd fret, at the B fret for the 1st string, it becomes B minor. Why am I saying this? Well, if I bar at the C fret, 3rd fret, then it's a C minor chord. So what I'm saying here is that whichever note name you're at on the 1st string will be the name of the chord. And if you're doing this shape, then it's a minor chord. So 3rd fret is C minor, and then the 5th fret is D minor, because this is a D note, okay? Check out this little note diagram, it'll help. Now, each one of those notes on the 1st string will can be potentially a minor shape. So if I do it in the 1st fret, okay, I gotta really clamp down hard for that one, that's a B flat minor, okay? Does this make sense? So let's go through those real quick. Again, I'll show the diagram using the same shape. A minor is open. 1st fret is a B flat minor chord. It could also be an A sharp minor, but that's a little less common. 2nd fret, B minor. 3rd fret, C. The 4th fret is a C sharp minor or a D flat minor, but more commonly you'll see C sharp minor. 5th fret is a D minor chord. If I go up one more fret here, that's D sharp minor or E flat minor. E flat would be a little more common. Then I can have E minor at the 7th fret, okay? And let's go one more. If I do the 8th fret and bar there, that's an F minor chord. Okay, so once you have this shape down, just sliding it up and down the neck, you get access to all those chords. Easy peasy. Okay, let's go over a few exercises now to build up the strength in your hand, to get a good strong bar and make it much easier for you to produce a nice sound, place these quickly, and a couple little tips too that with small adjustments, it'll help you get a nice sound. So I've mentioned this exercise before. The thing with this sort of exercise is if you don't do it, you're not going to get any results. This is the kind of thing that if you do 2-3 minutes a day for a couple weeks, you should see a difference. The idea is this: simply bar 2 strings. And I'm doing it here at the 5th fret. It could be at any fret, but the 5th, 6th, 7th frets are actually easier to bar than the 1st, for example. Why? Because the string is stiffer here. It's right at the end. There's more tension here, and it's harder to get a nice sound. If you're not pressing hard enough, you know, I'm sure many of us have gotten this kind of buzz going. It's because we're not digging in hard enough. But if you start at the 5th, it's a little easier. Just 2 strings, thumb in the back, okay? Pinch, build up that strength. So starting with 2 strings, and then I work my way towards the 1st fret. Take your time. Don't be afraid to hold it and build up that strength. Okay, dig in, and then 1st fret. Now, I was kind of tucking my fingers under. It's actually better to have your fingers above the fretboard because eventually they'll be doing other stuff, right? For other chord shapes, for other bars, we need to use the pinky, the 3rd finger, the 2nd finger, sometimes 2 fingers. So we want to have them available and able to move. Now, once you can do that, try it with 3 strings. So again, I can start at the 5th fret, for example, it could be another fret, getting a nice sound with 3. Working my way towards the nut, towards the head of the ukulele, and again, the thumb is right in line in the back, and I'm pinching. It can help to lean back, to kind of pull back a bit, to get a little extra strength. And also, a little hint is if you're close to the fret, close to the metal bar here, it's easier than if I'm away from it. Okay, if I'm at this end of the fret, it's harder to get a nice sound. But towards here, towards the right, if you're right-handed, or the side that's towards the sound hole, that's where you'll get a nicer sound more easily. Okay, so keep that in mind and work your way towards the nut. Lastly, you can do it with all 4 strings. Same idea. Don't rush. Take your time. Don't be afraid of a little burn in your forearm, okay? In your hand. We want to build up that strength. That's tiring, okay? Next, what you want to do is take one of those positions wherever you're at. Let's say you can do 3 strings at the 3rd fret. You can pull that one off. Then practice adding just 1 finger. I could add my middle finger here. It doesn't really matter which one. I could add my 3rd finger here on the 1st string, or my pinky on the 1st string. So I'm practicing that dexterity needed to bar and press with the tips of the other fingers. And then I can do that on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th string. Work on this step by step. I won't go through all the steps. You get the idea. There's potentially many steps here, you know, and one of the steps is, in fact, if I'm at the 2nd fret, would end up with the B minor chord, okay? If I bar all 4 and add my pinky, that's a major chord. That's actually a variation of a D major chord, right? So these exercises end up being chords, major, minor chords that you can use, but we're just working on that dexterity, okay? So think of it step by step, figure out where you're at with your bars. If you can do all 4, great, but then practice adding 1 finger at a time and still getting a nice sound. Don't overdo it. 2-3 minutes is enough, but be consistent. Keep coming back to the exercise and you will see results. Another thing about having trouble getting a nice sound is, I hate to say it, but it could be your ukulele. Some cheaper ukuleles, if you have a $30, $40 uke, maybe it's not helping you. If you're finding that your strings are like far from the fretboard, they should be like about a quarter should be able to slide in there. Not much more than that. If you can fit 2-3 quarters in there, you got a problem. That's too far. And ukuleles often, they don't have like guitars have what's called a truss rod, where you can adjust the neck and change the angle so that the strings end up closer to the neck. But a cheap uke doesn't have that, so you're kind of stuck. One thing you can do, I actually did it on this ukulele, is file down the nut right in the slot there for the string. I filed it down carefully by maybe a couple millimeters, because my first string was a little far and I was having trouble barring in the first fret. So that brought it down just a bit, and now it's much easier to get that first string to ring. So that's something that you could try. Be very careful with it, only a tiny bit at a time, just filing down. I forget what I used. I think I used a serrated knife to get in there and just saw a few times. I saw a little bit of plastic dust come out, and then I put the string back in, tightened it up, and tested it. You don't want to get it so low that there's a buzz where the string is touching the other frets, but if lowering it just a touch could help barring. Now again, if your neck is bent and your strings are like half a centimeter away from the fretboard already, it might be a bit of a lost cause, okay? Luckily, ukuleles are not very expensive, and if you spend more like around $100, $150 on a good uke, it will make barring easier. Trust me, and you'll really feel the difference. You'll enjoy working on those bar chords. Some ukuleles are just stiff and hard to play. Guys, if you're finding this helpful, please take a second to click the thumbs up. It really helps. I truly appreciate it. And consider subscribing for tons more beginner ukulele videos. I have links down in the description to playlists for chord hacks, strumming patterns, finger picking, all kinds of stuff. Song tutorials, okay? So check those out. Lots more content down below. But right now I'm going to show you 2 easier ways to play B minor. So if all these tips and tricks and exercises, hopefully you can work on them and gradually build up your ability and understanding. But in the meantime, a B minor chord can be played by only pressing the bottom 3 strings in the 2nd fret, and you could do it with fingers 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3. Okay? So this is kind of like a D chord, a D shape, but down 1 string, and I strum only the bottom 3 strings. Okay? So consider doing that as a kind of a backup. Or this is a G minor chord. I don't know if you guys know that one. Okay, I'll show the diagram. G minor. But if you do this one at the 5th fret, it's another variation of a B minor chord. Okay, so look, index 5th fret on the 1st string, then my 3rd finger here, 2nd string, 7th fret, and then my middle finger on the 3rd string, 6th fret, bottom 3 strings only. And it doesn't sound so bad if you strum all the strings. Okay, it's not quite a B minor chord, but it works. Okay, but try to only strum the bottom 3. That's an easy B minor. Or again, right here, just strum the bottom 3. That's an easy way out. Okay, but don't be lazy. Work on those bars. You'll get there. And once you nail this shape, like I said at the beginning, you have access to a dozen different minor chord variations right there. Okay, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Consider subscribing for tons more beginner ukulele videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.